here for another episode of Two Bees in a Pod. We are blessed to have another very successful entrepreneur on the show today. He started out of his back of his car with a couple $100.
Yeah.
And now he's built...
Slaying on the streets, baby.
He's built an empire till you collapse clothing. He now has a warehouse, his own gym, a cold plunge, a sauna.
We should record this in there. See you guys in there.
And welcome to the show, Brian Nabavi.
Man, thanks for having me.
Yeah,
Good to see you.
We love that.
It's been actually a long time since we've seen each other.
I know. How long has it been? Well, you keep on having kids. You have like 1 million kids.
Yeah,
You have like
I
4
like to
kids.
practice. I like the action of having kids.
Well, you got 4 kids, right?
Yeah.
2 boys, 2 girls.
Yeah.
And
Have you seen my oldest son lately? He's crazy.
oh yeah, I heard he's into lifting and all that stuff. I was watching a couple of your clips, and he's bigger than you now.
Just
Almost.
about, yeah.
Is he taller than you?
Yeah.
Jeez,
Wow,
and he's
yeah.
playing baseball, football, the whole
Only
bit.
baseball now.
Only baseball.
He's a junior high school.
So no more football.
he wants to get a scholarship and play in college.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
focusing on
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
It's probably the best. I
Yeah.
played football, and I'm literally my
your
back's
body.
hurting right
Yeah.
now.
So your
you
body,
know. Do you tell him? I always wonder this because you're about my age. I think I got you by a couple of years, but
How old are you?
geez, 2-3 years.
How old are you?
I'm 62.
You're not really. I thought you were 69.
I'm 40. I'm 43.
Yeah, I'm 41.
God, man, it was a good run, but
We're doing good, man.
but my thing is, I wonder how you feel about this. When we were younger, 20s and 30s, we just put as much weight as you could.
Mm-hmm.
You know, as for the listeners that don't know, he's big in the bodybuilding. He kind of built his brand around it as well, till he collapsed.
Mm-hmm.
So that obviously goes to a reference to working out and just in life in general.
Everything, yeah.
But
Mindset.
when you were in your 20s and 30s, we did some extra supplements.
Oh, yeah.
And we lifted really heavy.
Yeah.
Do you tell your son to lift really heavy or not anymore?
I mean, yeah, he lifts heavy.
man,
he
it's
lifts.
scary.
But here's the thing: he lifts heavy, for repetitions. So it's none of the, it's none of the max shit. It's he's 16 years old.
Yeah.
He uses like 100-pound dumbbells, incline dumbbell, shoulder press 80, 90 pounds, 225. Like he reps a lot of weight for his age, but it's manageable. It's like 10, 12 reps. He's not like really
2.
straining. Yeah, when you really strain, that's when you get the stuff. But reality of it, when you work out like that and work your body over time, there's going to be wear and tear. You figure I've been working out for 28 years, so that's a pretty long time. I tore my pec, so it's going to catch up to you eventually.
Yeah, my back has been since I had surgery December. Still haven't worked out since December.
Yeah.
So now the diet's got to be perfect.
Which yours has been, right? Because you look, you look fitter.
Oh, there you go. That's what
But I remember.
Fishing
I remember
for
you were
compliments,
fit.
folks.
Keep going.
You were fit, and then you gained some weight, and then now you've lost.
I lost
again.
it all. Yeah.
There you go. That's what I thought. Yeah.
Well, I couldn't work out anymore, and I was still dieting.
Yeah.
But not as much as I was. When I'm working out and all that, I can get away with a couple things. When you don't work out, you're in your 40s. You got to eat perfect.
Yeah.
You know how it is. It's got no carbs.
Yeah.
No bread.
Yeah.
No, none of that stuff.
Different genetics and stuff like that. But for me, it's like, no.
Yeah.
I put on weight like overnight.
Yeah, because you've gone
I
back.
fluctuate all the way. Yeah. Yeah.
It's tough.
Yeah.
It's extreme, right? Or you're either eating chicken nuggets or we're having tuna with no rice.
What do you want to look like? How do you want to feel? I know when I eat bad, I feel like shit. Too, So.
Yep. And then tell us about your story. So, when did it start? When did you get the idea of like, okay, I want to start a clothing company? And at that time, everyone was starting clothing companies.
Yeah, even now, so more than that. It's crazy now
because of Instagram and all that.
Crazy.
So tell us your story.
It's about 10 years ago. 10 years ago. So my story is, I've been in the fitness my whole life. I was a fat kid, and back in the day, there's so much shit on social media nowadays, as far as like podcasts, fitness apps, fitness influencers, all this shit. Like, and I want you guys to think about back in the day, none of that shit was there. Like when I was 13 years old, I was born in 82, there was nothing there. The internet wasn't even available. So, I literally had to teach myself how to work out. There was no one teaching you. And I just taught myself how to work out, got into fitness, got into shape. I started personal training at 18 years old. At 24-Hour Fitness in Roseville. I know you know that place, right? That was like the Mecca, right? When that place first opened up is when I first started training. It was crazy, right? And I just fell in love with changing people's lives. I had clients that, lost 200 pounds. I'm Persian and Italian. I'm fucking salesy. You know what I mean? So I love sales. I always made money because of my sales ability. And, I was breaking records at 24-hour fitness. I was having, 30,000, 40,000 months, just selling crazy amount of training a crazy amount of training, but not making that much money. I mean, when you work for a company like that, they pay you peanuts, right? So fitness is my passion. And then, because I believe you got into it, if I remember right, that when the whole mortgage boom was happening with mortgages, I don't know if you did or not.
No.
You did. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, like before the whole bust, like those 3-4 years before that, like everyone was doing loans. Everyone was doing, anyone in sales got into the mortgage business because it was crazy money, and I didn't really, I watched everyone do it. People that were nowhere near as talented as me, lazy, not even that good at salesable, and they're making, $500,000 a year. And I'm here making 60, peanuts. And then, so I finally said, fuck it, I need to make this money. So I got into the real estate game about a year before the crash. So I waited pretty long, and I got into the game and I made $100,000 my first month. And I'd never seen money like that. Like, I come from like very humble, like middle class. My dad worked hard as fuck, but like, I never went without, but like, it was never like money, So, before that I was making $70,000 a year broke as a trainer. And then I go from that to here's $100,000 your first month, and I was a dumb kid. I was at that point, I had no kids and I just spent money like it was never going to end. Right. I just started spending that $100,000, went out as fast as it came in. And I kept making money, but then right after I started, the crash happened, right? And the crash happened and, I basically lost everything. At that point, I had my wife and my first child, and then lost everything, basically. All my shit got repoed, basically kicked out on the street, credit score 480, $50,000 in debt, nothing. And as a man, as a father, that's my biggest accomplishment. My biggest pride is providing. I've always provided for my family, been the sole provider, and it was a fucking blow, right? Like you're at that bottom low point, what do? You got to get fucked back up and dust yourself off and keep going, right? So I was like, fuck this. I'm going back to my passion, which is fitness. And I started at CalFit, just slanging memberships at CalFit. And I got promoted from just membership sales to a general sales manager within a year. And I had my own club and I kept going up in the company. And I was making about $150,000 a year, but that's still peanuts for me. Like I have always had high ambitions. I want to drive the Ferraris, the Lambos, the Porsches. Like cars are my thing, right? So I'm making $150,000 a year. I have a family at 5 at this point. I'm supporting solely. We're still broke as fuck. In California, that much money with that many kids, still broke as fuck. I'm working 78 hours a week, broke as fuck. Not seeing my kids, working 9 to 9, 7 days a week. Like, not sustainable. Still working out. Like I was probably at that point the fittest I've ever been in my life. At that point I was like, 28, 29, 30, super fit, like still working out, even all those work hours. Like a lot of times when people work like that and they're very driven, especially in sales game, the fitness goes out the window because the money takes over and that's the main focus. But I wasn't going to let my physique slide. Right. And then at that point is when I started the company. It was 10 years ago. I was 31. And I remember I was just like, this is not happening. Like, I always wanted to be an entrepreneur. I'm not that educated. I barely graduated high school, but I've always been a hustler, always been flipping shit, selling shit, whatever to make money. And I was like, let me just start. Like, I love fitness. What can I do is fitness, just kind of thinking process, figuring it out, right? And I remember one of my employees, he was a really talented kid, Persian as well, but lazy as fuck.
Lazy Persian.
There's some lazy Persians. Trust me. There's a lot of Persians that are hustlers, but there's a lot of lazy Persians too. Lazy everybody, right? But he was just, typical somebody that's very talented, right? That relies on their talent. You see it all over the place. Somebody that is talented, so they don't have to work as hard. But when hard work meets talent, that's when crazy shit happens, right? But it's just one of the talent, but didn't have to work that hard. And he told me he had a clothing line. I'm like, and this kid was like, at that point I was 30, 31. He was like 23. And I was like, what do you mean you have a clothing line? Like, what the fuck? You know what I mean? Like, I was like, what do you mean? And then he showed me his shirts and all this stuff and to talk to me about it. I'm like, well, you can fucking have a clothing line. I can start a fucking clothing line, right? So that's kind of what spurred the idea. And then I just came up with the name, Till You Collapse. It really resonates with everything, right? And then the idea behind the name is it's a mindset, it's a lifestyle, it's how you live your life. If you give that till you collapse effort, maybe not literally till you collapse, but figuratively leave it all in the field, all your effort every day, like in everything you do, is like what you stand for, like how you fold this fucking napkin, how you put the fucking cart back, like how you do everything. If you really give 100% effort, 100% work ethic, that's how you reach goals. You do that over time, that kind of mindset and work ethic, you're going to reach your goals, whether they're financial, whether they're physical. So that's kind of where the name came from. And I just made, $300. I went home, fucking downloaded cracked Photoshop, downloaded it illegally on the internet, stayed up all night and just made a couple designs. They look like shit. They look like shit. I'm not a
First ones
designer.
usually do. Yeah.
I'm not a designer. Slapped them on 25 t-shirts, slapped them on 25 tank tops, started the social media, all going to Google, figuring this shit out on my own, because back then there was no resources, right? And just started selling them and, hustling them, and people were buying them because they believed in the name of the brand. They believed in me. They know I lived what the brand stood for. So when something's authentic, people support you, and just slanged them out of my trunk. And about a year doing that, working full time, doing that full time, probably literally 18-hour days, 18 to 20-hour days, literally, because I would work 7 to 7 at the gym, come home and work 8, 9 p.m. till 1, 2 a.m. and just restart the process all over again. Built it up to 6 figures within the first year, gross, 6 figures gross. So you're netting maybe 40 if you're lucky. Still not crazy money, right?
And how did you get that first 6 figures? Was it just hustle, contacts?
Yeah, social media, internet,
okay.
Just constant, and stuff I talk about all the time. Just like I was telling you guys with this, just you got to just be consistent with the posting and just keep doing it, And the thing is a lot of people stop because you don't get the views, you don't get the likes, or it's like, why the fuck am I doing this? Yeah. But that's what everyone goes through. Everyone goes through it till they don't, till they have that big viral video, till something hits, and then they really start to get some traction. That can take 6 months. That can take 3 years.
It's even our podcast. It's hard to not get frustrated in the beginning, right?
Yeah.
You're just like, dude, 4 views, 5 views.
Yeah.
But I'm like, screw it. I'm going to keep doing it. And now we're, I think we had a UFC guy on, Josh Emmett. We just did a little clip of him.
Nice.
Now it's got 3,000-4,000. But from, a couple, it's just, right. It's just consistent, learning the algorithm.
That's all it is.
But when you started, no one told you how to do it. You got to learn all on your own.
That's the thing. Nowadays, it's way different. I mean, literally, there's AI apps where you can literally, like, build a whole website. Like, you can go to a clothing, it's like a clothing shop or a clothing store. AI copies their website, has yours. AI does everything, designs clothes. It's nuts now, and that's only been 10 years.
Yeah.
And back then you had my ass on cracked Photoshop doing shit look like a fucking 7-year-old did. It's nuts how much it's advanced, right? But I'm kind of glad I went through that, because that's really like more the grind and hustle that really, builds that grit in you and instills stuff in you, where it's almost easy now. It's still not easy to sell. You still got to sell the shit. But from going from nothing to like, okay, I have a website, I have a company, it's a lot easier now. It's streamlined.
And then how did you make, so from 6 figures and then now it's a 9-figure, 10-figure company, right? I mean, you're
no. It's not.
Gross.
No, I wish it was a 9, 10 figure. That'd be amazing,
you
bro.
gotta be creeping on 9 here pretty soon.
No, not anywhere close, bro. No.
Well, I see the Lambos, the Ferraris. I'm like, he's getting up there. No. But I mean, 8-figure company is incredible.
So
it is.
Here's the thing, that first 4 years, and this is what really separates most people, and they drop out with anything in life. Fitness, athletics, relationships, anything, right? Is your mindset is everything. That's what is really strong on me, because a lot of my other skills are shit. My mindset, my work ethic, really that's all I have to fall back on, right? For the first 4 years, listen to this. You guys want to start something, you want cars, you want nice things, you want whatever. I'm supporting a family of 6, making gross, because after the first year I quit the gym, right? I quit the gym and went all in because I couldn't keep working 20-hour day, like it was burning the can on both ends. I quit the gym, and now I'm okay. I'm making $100,000 a year, $40,000 a year. You know, if you guys don't realize, you guys see these numbers of companies, like what they gross and what they net is way different, right? Still, people blows my mind. People don't realize that. They're like, oh, you know, you made $1 million. Like, no.
They
But,
grossed.
yeah. But like,
Big
I'm
difference.
grossing six figures, like $120,000 a year gross, supporting a family of 6 in California. So I actually took the first year when I did that, I took a pay cut because, you know, I was making 150 at the gym, 100 for the first year, those combined, right? And then I quit the gym, and then I had just the 120 gross, let's say 40 net in California, supporting a family of 6, renting a house. So I did whatever I had to do because I wasn't going to lose everything again. So for about 3.5, 4 years, I was literally working with the business, not even making enough money to pay my basic bills, and then doing shit on the side, doing odd jobs, selling stuff, flipping stuff on the side, just to make money to pay my bills. Like, most people aren't willing to do that. You know what I mean? And not only that, but do that for 3 or 4 years as this brand just kind of barely growing. 120 grand, 140 grand, 180 grand, like very slow growth. I mean, still growth, but like nothing really popping off crazy, right? Still struggling more than even I was, right? Like, you know, it's easy to quit because the gym wanted to promote me to a district general manager. So like 200 plus grand, multiple gyms. I have that dangling in front of me. That would be an easy way to go, but that wouldn't get me the freedom, the life I want, the cars I want, all that kind of shit. That wouldn't get me that, right? That would get me comfort. And everybody goes towards fucking comfort because it's comfortable. You can kind of kick back, lay back, and less stress, less pressure. You know, your bills are paid, but you're not really living anything crazy, right? But that's not what I wanted, right? So then we had the worst year ever. We grossed 80 grand. It was like the 4th year. So dropped from like 160 to 80 grand, which when you're netting, you know, 40, 50 off 100, 80 grand, you're netting like 30. Like, you can't survive. Tell me how you can survive in California off 30 grand with sole income this whole time. Always been a sole income.
What happened that last year?
Just people stop buying. And fashion and fitness, guys, if you're thinking of doing a fitness brand, it's probably the hardest grind of them all because it's really easy to start a clothing line. You can print 100 shirts and you have a clothing line. Start an LLC, start a social media, figure out a name, you have a company. How the fuck are you going to sell those 100 shirts? How are you going to keep it selling for years at a time, right?
That's the key. That's the hardest part.
And with fashion, it's very hot and cold. There's a hot new brand, it pops off, goes crazy, then people leave it and they go to the next brand. And it's just like a small life cycle for fashion businesses. That's why you see so many. You don't see a lot go the distance, you know, and we're struggling now. And I'll talk about that struggle because I keep it real. You know, I'm not here to be anything I'm not. That's why when you said 9, 10 figures, I'm like, fuck no. Like, but, you know, I was like, first of all, I have to change some shit. This is out of my trunk. This is out of my garage. I got kids fucking running around me all day. I'm about to lose my shit. Like, this isn't a real business. I'm out of a home office. Like, I need to get the fuck out of here and start mentally and physically treating this like a real business. Like, we need a warehouse. We need a fucking place for me to be. I need to start getting employees. So you know, the worst year ever, you think you want to tighten your butthole up and start saving everything. Not me. I'm like, fuck it. Let's get a warehouse bill. Let's move out. So I moved out. I totally revamped the brand. So you remember, like, back in the day, I had this crazy leggings with like donuts on the ass and like the crazy designs and shit like that.
No, the donuts on that.
Well,
really?
yeah, I like to buy ass. So if the donuts there, gives me an excuse, right?
Okay, yeah, there you go.
But like, there was pizza and there was funny food and shit on the ass. And it was
You got to bring those back for like
I've actually had people asking about them. It'd be kind of funny.
They released like 10 of them or something like that. And
but they were super cheap. They were like $6 a manufacturer, sold them for 20, 30 bucks. So quality was cheap, but they were kind of gimmicky. But I was like, do I want to be a gimmicky brand? Like, you know, that's not really what I want for my brand. So I really looked what the top brands were doing, more like Lulu, Aloe, like bigger, more trendy brands like that, and kind of emulated what they do. And for anyone listening to this, it's okay to emulate other companies. Like, you have to look at what someone's doing, look at what's working, and put your own spin on it. Because you're not going to reinvent the wheel. None of you. It's hard to invent something that's never been done. Brand, process, like Good luck with that nowadays, right? But what you can do is you can take something that's proven concept, whether it's a product or service, and add your flair to it, add your touch to it, make it yours, and run with it, right? That's the best thing to do. So that's kind of what I did. I emulated Lulu as far as look, design, quality. Totally redid my website, redid my product offerings, up my price, double, triple my price. My manufacturing price didn't really increase that much, maybe doubled, but my price more than took care of that. Margins were actually better. And then released that, had influencers and some advertising behind it, and then went from 80 grand that year to like 1.2 million in 6 months. Jeez. So it was like,
wow,
everything totally changed. And at that point I had no bills. I had, my rent for my house, $2,000 a month, no car payments. My rent for my warehouse was $1,000 a month, then bills as far as like insurance and food and shit like that, electricity. But to go from that with no expenses to 1.1 million was crazy amount of cash flow, crazy amount of, obviously I put it right back into the company.
You could probably breathe a little bit.
Oh,
getting your bills paid off.
Yeah.
It
was like a feeling I never felt, right?
And what was that? Was it because I know you're big on Instagram, right? And we've talked about advertising.
Yeah.
And that's been my crutch. I have these products that do well in retail, but my e-commerce, I'm old school.
Yeah.
So I have all my products in nutrition stores, grocery stores, stuff like that. But I haven't figured that out yet.
You got it. Yeah,
It's so frustrating.
You will. But it's the magic of combining those both, because I've never really done the retail. So I'm still solely focused on e-commerce. I'm just now bringing in the retail. But when you can do both is when you really kill it, one without the other. I mean, you can kill it more on e-commerce than retail because you have that reach, but if you can do both. And it was just, like I said, the marketing, a lot of influencer marketing back then was really getting hot. And the product, it was $50 for something that was just as good as something that was $100. So it was basically 50% off. People went crazy because they're like, this is as good as Lulu for half off. And I'm still 5-6xing my money, and they're happy as fuck. Can you imagine Lulu at their prices? They're like 10-12xing their money.
Yeah, and they're fine.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Have
you ever reached out to anyone in corporate Lulu? Have they reached out to you or?
No, just because the designs are slightly different. The fabric blend is different. So they're really nothing proprietary. They can't.
But I mean, if someone like left the corporate office and be like, hey, I want to come work for you or anything like that.
Nothing like that, man.
Yeah.
So then, we kept growing, kept growing 100, 150%, from there year after year. So, growing, right about COVID, right before COVID, trending to, do our 8-figure year, which is, 10 plus million, which is crazy, right? Obviously a lot more expenses and stuff as your company grows. And this is the thing I want you guys to think about. You got to figure out what you really want, because there's got to be some point, there's like a happy medium, right? Because, everyone wants a huge, bigger company, but it's like, as the company grows 8 figures, 9 figures, it's like, there's so much more shit that comes with it. And at the end of the day, like what you gross versus what you net is not that big a difference. I mean, there is a difference. 10% on 9 figures is going to be significant. But if you go from making, making like 5 million a year versus 7 million a year, and that 7 is going to bring you a lot more headache, a lot more. I mean, it's 2 million, yeah, but like at that point, you know what I mean? So it's like, you got to figure out what you really want out of it, right? Because I mean, I think about back in the day, I was really making the most when I had no bills. I was out of that original warehouse. I took that jump and I made 1-2 million in a year with zero expenses versus making, 7, 8, 9, 10 million, a shitload of expenses, right? And a lot more headache. So, and then can you imagine that growing is 9-figure, 10-figure, and every industry is different. But I have friends that have companies that are doing 20 million, 30 million, and they tell me what they net. And I'm like, what the fuck?
What business are you in with those kind of margins?
Like a lot of businesses have shit margins. So guys, when you listen to this, my advice to you, if you start a business, make sure it's something engraved that you love, some kind of passion, some kind of something that you like, that you know about and you actually live and you like, whether it's a product or service. And then look at the profit margins. Like, this is a business. You need to make money. So when you start it, before you start it, you got to really figure out your profit margins. How much money are you making? Because you buy something for $5 and sell it for 10, you're going to be spinning your wheels. As you scale that, you're going to really make nothing, because all your money that goes in advertising, employment, payroll, all that kind of shit, you're going to break even. And you think that doubling your money is good. It's not good. Like, you need to have more profit margin.
I won't touch anything 3x or at least 3x.
Yeah.
5x, okay.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, and that's what I say. I say 3 to 5x is the happy place. Anything under 3,
not worth it.
no.
And that resonates with me because I had the nutrition stores, and we started with 1, 2, 3. 3 was great, and then we expanded to 15 in a year. It just boomed out. We were in Alaska, Oceanside.
So and then
I didn't make as much money as with the 3 stores because I grew too fast.
Yep.
So that resonates with me because I lived that. I'm like, I was having anxiety attacks at 27, 28. The stores were getting broken into in Alaska, and I'm in Sacramento, and it's just me.
Yeah.
So, I've literally lived it, and it's tough to just scale back because our mindset is big. But you gotta you have to make sure those policies and all those things are in place with 3 stores and have that tightened up perfect.
Yeah.
And then but everyone wants to grow super fast. But God, there's a lot with that. And then, all right, so you're up to 8 figures now. And you love cars. Everyone knows that. Everyone knows you.
Yeah.
You just rolled up and looked like the Batmobile.
Yeah.
What was your first car? I know you brought, was it the Porsche?
The Porsche was the first one.
That was the one you had posters on your wall and the whole bit.
That was the first one.
How did that feel? That's the best feeling, right?
Best feeling. Yeah. It was a great feeling.
Because all that hard work.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, this is, one of the splurges that I get to take part in. And then what was that after that? I think I saw you on... This is when I know you made it, because I heard your story. I knew who you were, because we're same hometown. I saw a Rolls Royce rolling down 65 in Sacramento, Rockland area. We don't see those kind of cars there ever.
Yeah.
And I'm like, who the hell is that? And then, I talked to a friend, be like, hey, you see Brian's new Rolls Royce, and I'm like, who's this Brian guy, and why does he have a Rolls Royce?
Yeah,
that was like
that
your
was
first
a cool car. Yeah, that was my first, as far as like
the FU car.
Yeah, that was. I missed that car. I wish I would have kept it. Honestly, it would have done it right. That, and I've had some Audis, the Ferraris, the Lamborghinis, all that kind of stuff. They're fun, But I want to talk about. What I want to talk about, because I think a lot of people are going to get some value from it. Because like I said, I'm always straightforward and real. I'm not trying to be anything I'm not. I never have been. So COVID hit. So we're trending record numbers. COVID hit. COVID was probably our biggest year ever as far as gross, but net was not, because there was a lot more expenses. We were having to advertise more to get the same amount of sales. So net less than the year before, and then 21, 22, 23, it's been a downward trend. This year, as of currently, I'm doing less than I feel like I'm back in the, not as far as revenue wise, but at least is how hard it is and just grinding for the sales, back towards the early years. And this is, last year and this year will be the lowest years we've had in a long time since that initial jump. And that's real. This shit's fucking hard and it's stressful. Talk about stress, pressure, uncomfortable. I'm built for that shit, right? So most people crumble into that. And it's hard, and there's many reasons why it's hard. The market's more saturated than ever. Like I said, fitness, fashion, apparel is hard as fuck. It's more saturated than ever. With the way the economy's been through this whole thing the last 3-4 years, people are tighter than ever. Inflation has gone up like crazy, but people's pay has not gone up like crazy. Unemployment's high, people's pay hasn't gone high. So everyone's strapped more than ever, really now more than ever. And that whole middle ground, the biggest demographic really there is. And what I've found is, leggings, fitness, apparel is not a need typically, it's a want, right? Especially extra shit. And what is happening nowadays, what I'm seeing is Amazon, all these brands, there's really a lot of brands that are $20, $30 price range for very similar, if not as good, almost the quality. It used to be Amazon, those cheaper brands. The difference between quality between like us and Lulu and stuff, there was a far variance between that. Now they're not quite as good as us. They'll never be as good as us because you can't, with the margins, you can't do it with that. But that delta has shortened, so their quality is close to us. their price is way less. So as consumers, they're all running towards that, because if they can spend $20 on a pair of leggings and have an extra 30, $40 to put gas in their tank because they're struggling, that's what they're fucking doing. And that's reality. That's just real. You can't get around that, because that's what the consumer is telling you, right? A lot of things as well, these manufacturers are actually cutting the brands out. So manufacturers are selling direct to consumers from through Amazon from overseas. So the manufacturers, instead of manufacturing, I manufacture a legging, I have a brand.
They just go direct.
I sell to consumer.
Yeah.
And it's a smart move. Real talk, game recognized game. I respect it. What they're doing, instead of them making a legging for X and selling it to me, and then me selling to the consumer, making all that revenue, that margin, they're selling it straight from them to the consumer, and they're making a lot more money.
Yeah, because they can make bigger margins going direct.
So that's the reality of what's happening. And really, you can't do anything about that, right? I mean, you can, but you just got to continue to evolve, and that's what we're doing. And it's a struggle, and I love it, actually, because like I said, I don't want to say it was easy, but those middle 3 years where it was really growing, it was easier. I had those initially 4 or 5 years, it was a crazy grind. And then I had those 2-3 years, it was easier. It was growing, money was printing. And then back to now, it's kind of like back to the beginning.
But that's business, right?
And that's business. That's the thing. That's life,
people
guys.
Don't understand
that's
that.
a fucking life. They expect it to just go like this. But it's like, and that's the reality of it.
Ebbs and flows.
Right?
Yeah, no, it's one of those things, we've been talking a lot about your success, and I don't want to harp on, your failures or anything like that. But you said you started very, like, you had hit rock bottom, basically. You were in debt. I think I'd read somewhere you were almost like 50,000 in debt, had cars repossessed, only about 300 to your name. You said you were also really fat at this time. I was always curious, did you have more pounds or more money in the bank? Because it was 300, so I'm wondering if you were going like...
So, my genetics and my weight, fitness, I've gained and lost probably 50, 70 pounds a few times in my life. I was initially young, I lost all that weight, and then you get married, you get in a relationship, and everyone can attest, you get happy, you're not single, trying to look your best out there, hunting, and you get comfortable, right? And you get a relationship, you start eating food, going on dates, going to the gym less, snuggling next to that ass. Like, everyone knows it happens. Like,
a donut, yeah.
Yeah, in reality. So that kind of was that happened to me. Gained all that weight, and then I lost it again right around my 30s. In my early to mid 30s, I was in really good shape. And then when I hit that success, I never had money like that. Okay, I can eat higher class, eat more food, eat better food, you eat more. You get comfortable. And here's the thing, the place I am now, as far as 41 years old, mentally and physically, I'm in a place I've never been because of these ebbs and flows and experiences and ups and downs. I've lived them, I've come out of them, and it makes you who you are, right? So, I made that money and I got fat. My pockets and my stomach got fat, right? And I can sure people can relate to that, right? And then finally came the reality, like, this is not me. Like, the brand, what it stands for, I've always represented it. That's not what I represent, right? I have to represent or it's fake, right? So then now recently, in the last couple of years ago, I lost another 50 pounds and got to where I kind of am now, and I'll never go back, because mentally and physically, because of those years and experiences, I'll never go back because of actually doing it and living it. And one of my other businesses I do now, I do coaching and mentorship. It's something I'm really focusing on because I'm passionate about it. And one of my main clientele niche is like entrepreneurs, fathers really, because that fatherhood thing, like 25 to 50 is like men. I coach women too, but men are my biggest thing. And it's mindset, fitness, and business, right? And it's because I've been there, I've lived it. So kind of trying to coach them and help them because I've been through all that shit that they're either currently going through or they've been through, right? And it's hard to manage. And someone that's been through there basically coach you along the way, that kind of thing. So I love the coaching thing. And yeah, now I'm here.
Yeah, and I was going to ask about that. I noticed that you do some motivational speaking. You also do coaching sort of on a smaller basis.
Yeah.
What do you prefer? Do you like having a larger group to talk to, or do you like having more of the one-on-one where you can really I
like speaking. I like speaking to larger groups. I mean, either or, I like to do more of it, like I have a gig next week at a coffee shop There's Smithville, Loomis. I don't know about that place. So it's a coffee shop, but it's a business mixer. It's a good amount of people. It's only a 10-minute speaking gig, probably about 50, 60 people. But it's just doing that kind of stuff. I like to because my story is real, and I like to share it with people. You know, I like to. But here's the thing: this shit's not for everybody. It's not. And I think a lot of people, and it's a harsh reality, a lot of people think it is because they see Instagram with the flashy shit and all the wins and the big Instagram's like a win book, right? No one shows their losses.
The highlight film.
Highlight reel.
That's a good call.
Instagram's a highlight reel. Half the people that are winning aren't even really winning because they're fake as fuck. That's just this reality of this day and age, right? So like all these people are showing winning when they're really not winning behind closed doors, and all people see is win, win, win. They're like, I can do this too. Well, maybe you could, but this shit is not easy. Like going through these years of fucking grind is not for everybody. That's why I said a small portion of people with that kind of success, or because it's not made for it. And that's fine. Like if you're built to be a great employee and a number, you know, and have a comfortable life, like it's not like you got to figure out what's for you and have some reality with that too, you know, because it'll fuck you up fit mentally if you think like, you know, but you're not built for it.
But I feel like we had Jeremy Perkins. You know him? He's a local guy. He started a medical device company. And what he was talking about, I think it's a
Jeremy Perkins.
Yeah, he was the guy that built that crazy backyard that's after a resort in Hawaii. Now he's in Austin.
Yeah, I've never met him. I think I met him once, but we really
meet up.
We communicate a lot over social media. We follow each other. Like that's what's great with social media, brings people together.
So
seems
same
like
kind of story. Starting his garage, and now it's over $100 million company.
Yeah, he sold it. He moved to Texas. Right? Yeah.
And so what he said, what resonates with me too, is, and I'm sure you can attest, I almost did the same thing, but you caught it. Was like I get that everyone thinks they can do it, right? Everyone thinks they're an entrepreneur, but I don't see too many people actually making the jump. Everyone talks about it. You had barbecues. Let's open this. Let's do that. But I think the toughest thing where everyone's listening is actually making that step to do it. Everyone has ideas, but executing is the biggest one because
it's the fear.
Yeah. So I feel like maybe everyone can think.
Don't talk about it, be about it.
Exactly.
I love saying that.
Yep.
Talk's cheap, right? And it's easy to talk about it because they want it. They want it, but they don't want to do what it takes to actually get it.
Or even do it, even execute it. No one. I have so many people that have all these ideas, and it's like, no, you can't do this because of this, because there's another company, someone else is doing that. I'm like, God, you're just giving yourself so many excuses not to do it. But the best advice I could ever give anyone that wants to be an entrepreneur is do it. That's it. Just
like
execute.
Like when I went home and just did it. Like I figured it out. I didn't know what the fuck I was doing, and I was every employment, what's the word I'm looking for? Whatever I was the photographer. I was the web developer. I was the warehouse guy. Everything. I was every
you were the
position.
Jack of all trades.
Every position in a company, that was me. And I didn't know how to do any of that, but I just did it. And that's why I talk about action. Just taking action is the biggest thing. Just do it. And I still do it. Like I just take action. It's one of my strengths. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. I just dive in and then I figure it out when I'm there. Right. Whereas most people are like so overthinking, so overanalyzing, scared of not knowing, they never do.
And I tell everyone the pet rock.
Yeah.
$1 million company.
Think about it. A rock.
A rock with some
painted eyes.
Just
some
put it in
roots
a
coming
box.
out.
Can you imagine those profit margins?
Yeah.
Insane.
Rocks are free.
But if they can
Those
do
little
that,
plastic eyes, they were probably 30xing their, whatever those plastic eyes cost.
I don't know if you know this. Originally, they didn't put eyes on them. It was just a rock in a box. It was just your pet rock.
Yeah. So just the cost was the box.
for Chia Pet,
But
all that
exactly,
stuff.
it was more the novelty of, like here's my pet rock over here, ha ha ha. And I think a lot of times it was a gag joke, and then okay, well, cool, we're still making money off the gag, so That works. But yeah, no, it's funny because, I'm hearing you talking about like starting a clothing company. And to me, I'm like, well, where do you begin? I mean, do you have to start looming, your own shirts over here? Because like you were saying, you had the designs, you had these designs that you had sort of come up with. But did you have to go to like, I don't know, like we used to have a spot in Foster City, I remember, Shirtique, where you would go in and you could just make your own shirts there. Did you have to do something like that to first start? Or
No, I just my first design. You remember it, like that weird, scary face, like that kind of beast face.
Kinda.
You remember that beast face? It was. I went to Google, and I typed in like skull face or something like that, and a little stock image on Google popped up. I took that image, I kind of edited it, like cut half of it out or whatever, so it was like a different image that I kind of made, and that was like the main graphic for my main shirts right there. I had somebody that screen printed. I contacted them. They did it out of their garage.
Okay.
They made, just like that. Very simple, straightforward, Yeah, but it's just crazy. It was 10 years ago. This August was 10 years.
Congratulations, first of all. I mean, that you've
Which
been
is hard.
doing anything for 10 years, let alone something that you started from scratch that is still going. I mean, that's impressive.
Yeah,
So.
for sure.
Yeah,
it's a lot of fun, man. It's a grind, though.
Pat yourself on the back.
Yeah.
But no, it's funny, too, because you were talking about being in a gym, right? And like being a personal trainer, and you were selling all these things. And I'm like, well, what do you sell other than memberships? But that's really it. You were just selling memberships. But then when someone gets into the door, do you become their personal trainer? Did you get anything for that? Or was it just you're on the clock and you get paid the same no matter what?
So when I started at 18 years old, I was a personal trainer. So I was physically doing hour sessions. I used to do 40, 50 hours a week of actually training sessions. It was a lot for a personal trainer. And then I would sit down, go over their goals, right? And I would go over their goals, and I would just tell them, okay, I'll be $5,000. And that's it. I used to just write it on a piece of paper. People used to be like, how do you sell so much? Well, I talk. Most people are like, it's always fear. Like, if you guys are listening to this, you are your own fucking worst enemy. Like, your head, you're your worst enemy. You can do so much more than you even think you can do, just because you're scared what people will think, or just failing. So what I used to do is, I'm a kid, and obviously I was in shape, but I used to have my before picture, fat and in shape. So that helps people know, okay, this guy has done it, so he knows what he's doing. I used to have someone sit down in front of me, Mrs. Jones wants to lose 80 pounds. Well, I used to say, okay, 2 pounds a week. If you train me 3 times a week, 2 pounds a week, calculate it. Okay, 80 pounds is going to take this many weeks. This is, 80 sessions with me. This, in front of her, doing all this math. That'll be $5,000. Boom, slide in front of her. How do you want to pay for that? Cash, check, or charge? Just confident, direct, sales 101, right? Show her the big picture. We want to get you, you're going to lose 80 pounds. You're going to feel and look amazing. It's only going to cost you $5,000, and you're going to get the knowledge for the rest of your life, and you're going to get there. Boom, slide it in front of her, and then just shut the fuck up, right? Because that's sales. Most people talk themselves out of a sale, right? And then just look at it. And sometimes I'd sit there I remember, and I love sales. I miss like one-on-one sales like this because it's a fucking game. And I would sit there, it would seem like 5 minutes. No one's talking. So I'm not talking first. Like, let me just have her process this and see what she says, right? And these guys used to always like be watching this shit, because sales is a competition, right? Yes. It was just fun in the gym industry. And then, Deb, she'd be like, okay, I'll use my credit card. Boom, whole 5,000. Or, I can only do half of that, but I still get $2,500 sale instead of nothing. Then you get these guys that are so scared, like, here, let's do $300. And then like, oh, I can't do that. And then you have nothing to drop down to, it's just that kind of stuff. Sales is,
I feel your mind is your biggest prisoner, is because people don't think big. And and that's been I can't do anything. Like, once you're in that mindset, I'm eating somewhere, I'm watching something on TV, my mind just goes, I could start that.
You can relate with all this, because you've had a good amount of success too, early too. Earlier than me, right? So
and then we had the Trend Extreme, catastrophe. Yeah. So I've been on the ups, the downs. I get it. It's frustrating. I hate when people say I can't do it. I can't do this. I can't for this reason, or like Lululemon is doing it. So and I'm like, God, like, people are so small-minded, and they don't think they can do it. Yeah. And with your story, which is really cool, is you started with nothing. Yeah. A couple $100. You didn't have someone like, here's $1 million check to start your business, investor. Nothing.
I suck at a lot. Let's be clear. I'm a fucking meathead. I'm not good at a lot of shit. My kids are way brighter than me. They're, they spell, they do math better than me. That's reality. I'm just a grinder. I'm a hard worker. I take action. I'm consistent as fuck. I'm disciplined as fuck. I'm those qualities are kind of the foundation that you need that a lot of people don't have. They have all these accolades. They're book smart. They got all this knowledge, but they don't know how to apply it because they're not disciplined. They're not consistent. They don't have work ethic. So it's like they have the opposite problem. Where if you can figure out how to be that, how do you figure out how to be that? You actually have to do it. You have to do it, and you have to build momentum and just consistently build from there.
And I think the successful businesses are the ones where you had to do everything, right? Because then when you have an employee, they respect you and then you know what they're doing. Like you know exactly what needs to happen. You can't be like, hey, do this, and hopefully he does a good job.
Yeah.
I was in the same, when my first store was 600 square feet up in Granite Bay.
I remember.
And I had to learn everything.
What year was that?
She's like 1972. No, it was 2007,
I remember that.
2006. I had a little hole in the wall, but I learned
I remember
everything.
I didn't even know you, but I knew about your supplements.
Yeah.
Because everyone was talking about them. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
But I went through the same thing where...
I don't think I ever took it because I just took the real trend. But a lot of people liked it. It worked great. You know what I mean?
It did. But it's, it was a season, went well. But you're sitting there the whole time, and I'm looking at all these products, right? I'm in a supplement store. For you guys listening, it's like a GNC.
Yeah.
My own franchise, but I have all my products, and I'm just staring at them for hours. And I'm like, why am I paying these guys, the product? Why don't I carry my own product line?
Yeah.
And the one thing that really helped me was I had 3 product lines, because you never want someone coming in your place and be like, oh, he's just selling that because it's their home brand, right? So what I did was I had 3 lines completely separate from West Coast Nutrition. It was exclusive, 360 Labs, and I forget the other one. It was like 12, 13 years ago, but when they come in, it's all different.
But they're all yours at the end of the day.
All mine
That's
at the end of the day.
Yeah.
But
that's great.
But then there's some stuff where I try to do clothing a little bit, and I'm like, it didn't work out. And I know we did like a supplement deal together. Everyone thinks, if you can do one thing, you can do another thing, and you diversify into 4 different businesses. And I think you can attest, it's not really diversifying different parts of the business. It's just, what do you do well, and just hammer that.
100%.
Right? Is that?
Yeah.
Because I figure with supplements, I'm like, man, he's going to crush it.
Yeah.
No, but it's
crazy, right?
Yeah.
It's just finding that, you definitely, you have a niche, you have a customer base. You have to figure what they want, and you can, I have branched off separate little things, and they have done well because I've really thought about what's this niche, what do they need, what do they want, not like, okay, well, we try to sell them pre-workout. Well, my main demographic is, 28 to 40 women. So maybe the pre-workout was designed wrong, needed to be a little different formula, design presented in a different way, right? Well, you learn that, through experience. Now, if I was going to do it again, which I may, that would be my next, you learn, you fail. And one thing I talk about most people is you fail and lose more than you win in this fucking life. Like, everyone's so focused on win, scared to lose, but really you can't win without losing. Because when you take that L, you experience, you learn from it, you level up mentally, physically, whatever. If you're smart, a lot of people, they don't learn from it. They make the same mistake over and over and over, right? That's another thing people do. But you learn from it, and you take that knowledge to move forward another way, right?
Yeah, I got a detox from 2008, still in there. I got like 500 units.
Yeah,
it's just part of learning. But if you don't take that action, you'll never know how to succeed and doing it in a different way. But I think all the successful entrepreneurs we've had on the show, the main thing is take action.
That's it.
And everyone listening, like, you can do it. Like the pet rock, the chia pet, like, dude, that's the dumbest idea ever.
And if you do something, make it genuine to you. That's all I can say is you're looking at all these different people doing different things, and you want to aspire to be them, but that's not you. So I can promise you, if you figure out whatever is most genuine to who you are, your personality, what you fuck with, you're going to be a lot more successful than trying to be, someone else that you see on social media, because that's not who you are, and people can feel that.
Yeah, see, like, I think what you're getting on is good there. Like, you can be inspired by someone else, but you're not going to be them. You're not going to do exactly what they do. You're not going to become them. And I'll tell you, the thing that I think is the most intelligent or, like, kind of mind-blowing thing that we mentioned earlier was, people saying, well, I want to do this because someone else is already doing it. Well, I can't think of any one product that has just one business making it, right? I can't think of it. Like I know there's, like I'm sure Starbucks probably thought, I don't know, there's another big coffee store around here. I don't know if we want to compete with them. And now they're everywhere, and it's one of those things that everyone makes coffee. Like it's kind of a silly business now that you think about it. I mean, everyone brews coffee at home, and I could just go to the bakery and get it. But Starbucks realized, no, people want their coffee, and let's specialize in it. Let's do different flavors, and let's do these. And like they set the trends now that almost everyone else follows. Now everybody else has to have baked goods in their coffee shop. Everybody else is doing these foams and different special things. And I think that's a big thing. That don't worry about it. If someone else is doing it, do it, but do it differently. 100%. Do it your way, and just add a little something to it. Add your flair to it.
Because in the day and age we live in, you're not gonna. If you can be someone that's the first to do something, you're gonna be extremely successful. If it's something very quality, which any product or service should be, you're gonna be very, very successful. The trailblazers are the ones that. Crazy success, right? But now in this day and age, what is that? Like everything's been done again, right? And that mindset that you just said, like you're not going to reinvent the wheel. Someone else is doing. Think about all the fast food, all the different restaurants. It's just you take something and you make it your own. You add your own spin to it. You add your own mission, your message to it, and you make it your own. And you find you build a following. You build a customer base.
Let's be honest. You can only make so many Italian dishes. You can only make so many Mexican dishes. But if you do a Mexican-Italian fusion, now I can do a little bit of everything. And that's been the big thing lately. All these food trucks in LA that are doing, Korean barbecue tacos, and it's one of those things where, you just kind of, let's do something different, Exactly. Maybe I'm good at doing this and this. Well, let's put them together. I always thought it was funny. There was a place near us that was Chinese food and donuts, right? Like,
oh God.
I don't know. I don't know why that would ever be a combination, but maybe they had someone who worked there that was really good at making donuts and chicken chow mein.
I like both.
I'm hungry. I'm in it for it.
The fat me would have some Chinese food and crush some donuts
That's
afterwards.
what I'm saying. Let's get a little Mongolian beef and a couple of crullers to wash it down with. And like I say, I think that's one of those things is that you were hitting on a lot of things that I am, because I am an overthinker. I like to analyze. I like to have all my ducks in a row before I move forward. And it's one of those things that I don't like being caught off guard. I don't like not knowing what I'm doing or talking about. And I hate it when I am at a job and there is someone in a position of power who doesn't know how to do the lowly jobs. Like to me, no manager should ever not know how to make a drink or run food to a table. You know what I mean? No one should. In any business, if you want to be the top guy, and that old meme of the difference between a leader and a boss, like you're a leader because what you were talking about, you did all of these things. You said, okay, I have to do all of this. I'm going to do it. Now I have other people that can do it, but I can explain it to them.
And I still do. I still take out the trash. I still, when we get a crazy amount of orders, I'll be back in the warehouse packing. Like I still do. Yeah. Right.
But I like that part of it. When I get orders, I'm like, this is awesome. I love it, and I know you do.
Yeah, I do too.
And I think what I've learned from you, because I feel like every successful guy we've had on the show, right? We've had NFL guys, UFC guys, entrepreneurs. They're always able and willing to learn more. And you have that attitude of, hey, I'm dumb. You're obviously not dumb, but you have that mentality where I can always learn. And that part with the passion of your line, your brand is big, because I've had many different projects and I've done that I haven't been passionate about, and people can see that. And you can feel that because you don't really want to sell something you're not passionate about. And I feel that's what I've learned from you is you live it. Like it's not a fake Instagram. Like this is who you are. This is your mindset and fitness. You live it, your brand, everything. I think that's the most powerful message that I've received from you watching you over the years is he is really passionate about his brand and he believes in it, and people can see that. And that transforms the company.
Another thing, what you just said is when you don't have that passion or that fire behind it, when it gets tough, and it's going to be tough, whether it is in beginning, middle, end, whenever, when you don't have that love or passion behind it, it's very easy to say, fuck this. Like, because when it's tough, like if you have that passion, love behind it, you're going to grind through, you're going to figure it out, you're going to not quit, because quitting is the easiest, most natural, like that's what everyone goes to, is like, fuck this, I'm done with this, you know what I mean? So, and most businesses, that's why most businesses, if you look at the percentages, most don't even make it to 10 years. You know, that's
2 years, 1 year.
That's the thing. Like, if you look at the statistics, like 2 years is a huge amount. Like 10 years is like, you know what I mean? So it's like, look at the people, they started, that's the biggest thing, taking that action. But why do you quit in the first 2 years? Why do you quit in the first 5 years? Why do you quit in the first 10 years? I mean, the highest percentages don't even make it to, like you said, that 2 year mark, I think is the one. It's like a crazy number. Yeah. I don't know the statistics, but I know it's crazy. Look it up, Google it.
Yeah. And then so now, obviously, it's a highly successful company. Maybe not in your eyes, because you always want to grow more and more and more. For sure. And you're surrounding yourself with guys in these. What was that? The group? It's Arete. And I think that's another valuable lesson people can learn is surround yourself with people that are smarter and more successful than you,
as much as you can.
That's I mean, I try to interact. I try to soak up as much knowledge of guys like Jeremy Perkins. Like. Part of the podcast is so informative. I don't know about Tim, but like we've learned so much.
For sure.
Because the only people that are sitting there are sitting there for a reason. They're successful.
We ain't bringing no bitches on this fucking podcast, all right? We're bringing alphas only, baby.
But that's a big lesson.
It. I mean, and you hear it all the time. Your circle, what you surround yourself is what you'll be. Like, you're the sum of the 5 closest people to you. So like, who are your closest friends? Are they people that are just partying every weekend, partying every night, spending all their money drinking, you know, no ambition, no drive? Or, you know, we all have friends like that, right? Quote unquote friends, right? But like, is that what you want to be? Like, we're 41 years old. You know what I mean? Like, what are you aspiring to be? Like you said, be around people that inspire, motivate you, push you, make you uncomfortable. Like, you're like, fuck, this guy's crazy successful. That makes you kind of uncomfortable when, like, or somebody that's super fit, and you know, if you got to take your shirt off next to them, like, how does that make you feel? Like, it makes you uncomfortable, but like, you should use that
uncomfort. I get that with Tim all the time.
Use that to drive you.
Yeah.
You know,
I love it.
Use that to push you. And the thing is, like I said, you got to invest in yourself. That's the number one thing, is invest in yourself. And that's what I did. And that's why I'm where I'm at, you know, because you can only go so far. Right.
And what is I also want to talk about is when you get these nice cars. And I remember I got my Ferrari and I was so excited. But what comes with that is a lot. And I hate when people say haters. And I'm like, I cringe when I hear that word. But I feel like when you get all these nice things, especially in a town of Sacramento, it's not LA, it sticks out. There's not too many Ferraris rolling around.
Yeah.
What has that been like? Because I know you get a lot of that, right? Like, oh, who's this douche with all the, you know, it's just, that's
the nice thing is I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
Like I know who I am. You know who I am. Like, anyone that actually interacts with me knows who I am.
Yeah.
I am who I am. I'm the same guy I was when I was fucking kicked out and everything was repoed. I just have a little more money. I'm a little more comfortable, but I'm still the guy that, you know, treats the janitor the way I treat the CEO. I'm still the guy cleaning the toilets and taking out the garbage. Like, I'm still that guy. Whereas I think sometimes a lot of successful people, they change. They change, or a lot of times they don't change. That's actually who they were. It just gets amplified as you get success, right? They talk about changing. No, I think that motherfucker was always a dick. He always thought he was better than everyone else.
He's a dick with more money.
Exactly. So like, it really amplifies, and there is people that change, but like, you know, I really don't care. And that's one thing I've been good at, because I know friends that are way more successful than me. They're like, they want to buy a Ferrari so bad, but they're so scared of what everyone's going to think of them driving that car. Or they're like, they have a car and they won't post it on social. They're hiding it off social media because they're worried about what other people think of them. And that's the biggest thing I deal with the guys I coach, is that fear holds you back in so much that you do. Once you get over that, it's like the most liberating, freeing feeling, you know, because I know that I earned that. I know that I grinded so hard to earn that. Nobody's giving me shit. And the thing is, that's what everyone assumes. They assume that daddy just gave me money to
Persian prince or something.
They don't know my story.
Yeah.
Like, I give my dad money. Like, they have no clue, but I don't care. That's on them, not me. And the reason they feel like that is because it brings out their own insecurities. It boils down to, when everyone sees someone driving a nice car, they think, oh, that guy's a stuck-up dick, or he was handed that, because they get jealous, they get insecure, because at the end of the day, they want that. We all want nice things. I don't care who you are. In some aspect, you want something nice. It may not be cars, may not be your thing, whether it's clothes, vacations, freedom, whatever it is that you want that you don't have, you feel some sort of way because you know that you're not putting in the work, you're not doing what's needed to get that for yourself, so you lash out. And that's on them, not us.
Yeah, I was going to hit on some. You're saying that some people may not want to post that they got a brand new Ferrari, new Porsche, new whatever. And I was going to say, well, yeah, it's because some people are going to be like, hey, you got some money now. Let me hit you up. But
that too.
That goes to the other point you were talking about earlier. Don't surround yourself with people like that.
For sure.
If you don't have those people in your life that are going to be leeching off of you, then you don't need to worry about saying, hey, look at my new ride.
And the reality is, in this world, the way that the world is nowadays, I fucking hate this world right now, for the record, to anyone here. I'm old school. Like, I hate the way this nation is and the way this world's going with everything, but we don't need to get into that. It's a whole nother podcast. But, it's just such a pussified nation of easy, quick, don't work for anything, take the easy route. And it's like,
don't offend anyone.
Yeah, don't offend anyone. Like, all this shit. Like, I miss the fucking 70s and 80s and 90s. Even though I wasn't growing up in the 70s, I really miss the 80s and 90s. Like, now that I look at the world we live in, that my kids are growing up right now, like, and sometimes I want to just, this social media, all this shit, I fucking hate this shit. Like, I'm torn because I'm old school, where I grew up where there was nothing, playing with dirt, riding outside. Your parents had no fucking clue where you were. Like, I'm the last really generation that grew up in just that. And I love that. And I miss that. And like, I see these cell phones, I see where it's going. And yeah, I've utilized it to bring myself success. There's a lot of benefits to it, but the old school motherfucker in me is like, I hate this shit. So it's always a struggle with that. But like, man, it's crazy. But the good news is, if you have any inkling of core values, you have good values, you have hard work, you're disciplined. Most people nowadays don't have any of that. All these kids nowadays, all these parents, they're so fucking weak, and there's so much of that out there, the masses, that you're going to stand out like a sore thumb, and you're going to be a lot more successful because there's not that much more competition for you like there was in the past, right?
Everyone's scared.
Yeah.
Everyone's scared to make the move or, do anything.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I am worried about this generation. As a former instructor, I used to work in, daycares, and I was there for, a little over a decade. And I noticed a lack of accountability with kids growing up nowadays, where my kid didn't do anything wrong. Yeah, he did, so we're going to talk about it. But that's part of the problem, is I felt that I can only do so much, because I could be teaching these kids right from wrong, but as soon as they go home, mom or dad says something else, that matters more than whatever I was saying. And that's a tough thing, because I do feel that that's becoming a thing. Social media, I think, has brought a lot of good, but boy, it sure has brought a lot of bad too, because it just gives people the ability to stay around doing nothing. I will say this. I remember the first time getting a smartphone, right? I had been to a doctor's visit like a week before, and then the second time I had my phone with me, and oh my God, that went so much faster. You know what I mean? 'Cause I'm sitting there playing a game. Oh, you called me already?
Yeah.
The time before, I was waiting 20 minutes, and I was like, dude, what the hell's taking
like
so
2
long?
hours.
Let's go. I want to go do something. I'm reading a Highlights magazine, like the same one I read when I was 5 years old.
Highlights.
Still looking for the missing picture. Like, okay, what is this? This sucks.
Highlights,
But yeah, that is one thing that I do worry about. Like, you talk about, you have your son who's playing baseball now and doing all that stuff and working out. And first of all, I think it's kind of funny, because you were talking about being 40 and how now it's harder. You put on weight so fast. That's got to suck, seeing a 16-year-old eating the same things you are and not putting on any weight. Instead putting on more muscle. Like, oh, look at that, I got a new one here. So it's just funny you were talking about that. Sorry, I went all over the place there. But it's one of those things where, like, I understand it's hard. It's a weird new place that we're kind of dealing with now.
I don't like it, man. I don't like. I just see it getting worse and worse. So, like I said, if you are, coming up like my kids, and you have someone hopefully teaching you old school ethics and stuff like that, you're gonna have a step up, because most people aren't like that anymore. Whereas back in the day, that's how most people were raised up, because of the demographic we're in and the nation we're in, and how it was, and the mindset back then was night or day that it is now, which is crazy, because I guess it's been a lot of time, but Us, it doesn't seem like anything.
I think the big thing for our generation, we didn't have any major wars. You know what I mean? Like you talk to our parents, they went through World War II. You talk to their parents, they went through World War I. It was a life-changing event that made you say, wow, we could just be gone in an instant. Let's get back to doing, like, we haven't had anything like that. I mean, the big thing we had was probably 9/11, like that. That sucked. But, it changed you for a week. And then you went right back to doing your thing. Like it wasn't, I didn't have to go enlist or anything like that. I didn't have to change anything. And I do think that that's one of those things that we've been kind of blessed with, not so much of that stuff. But then again, it's also, led to a lot of laziness. And I'm not calling anyone out here because I am king lazy. Trust me, I can lounge with the best of them. But
at least you own it.
Yeah, I do.
At least you own it.
And that's one of those things. I know it. But like I say, once again, just getting back to talking about like starting something from scratch. Like that's a hard thing to do. That's bravery.
We did it.
Yeah.
We're literally doing it right now. This is a small,
Like what made you guys want to do this? You guys just said, fuck it?
So, I'll be transparent. Yeah. This guy is probably one of the smartest guys I know, and I'm sure he's loving me saying that.
Stop some more.
But he's got the personality and he's got all that. But also, and he can attest to this, is he's that guy that says, no, we can't do this. No, you can't do that. There's this, there's that, 10 different rattles off reasons. And I just know this would be a great thing for him and us with my contacts. We're surrounded by so many cool people. We grew up with, these larger than life figures. And I'm like, this is perfect for him. Yeah. And I enjoy it. Like I love this. I love no cell phone. Yeah. And just interacting. Yeah. We're not going in like this is old school. This is really what this is. And I'm like, Tim, let's do this. We have a bar in our living room that's perfect for this. Yeah. Yeah. And we have all these fighters. He has the knowledge. Yeah. He can talk. Yeah. He's got the wittiness, and he's just loving this right now.
It's good stuff.
He's just gonna repeat this over and over.
I'm
since
half
July.
Chubbed. Yeah.
Since July.
July 4th. Half chubbed right now. Keep talking.
Known him since he's 13 years old.
Yeah, I know you guys have been friends a long time.
We know.
Well, we've known each other a long time. We've been friends for part of that time.
And so I'm like, this is perfect. Like we got to do this. And I kind of pushed him a little bit, but I feel like he needs a little push, but not too much.
Yeah.
Well, I'll be honest. It was the quickest yes, because you said, do you want to do a podcast? I'm like, yeah. Let's do it. Like it wasn't one of those things, and I'm always I don't know. I kind of feel like maybe we should talk about it. What do we want to do here? But I was like, yeah, I definitely want to do that
for sure.
But for me, it was always the getting all this shit together, right? Because we're borrowing a lot of different stuff here that I just wouldn't have access to.
Yeah.
And so that's the tough thing for me is I just see that it's a lot of work, and sometimes I just don't want to do all that work. I'd rather just play fantasy football.
But it's fun.
It is,
and
fun.
I can just tell by your personality, this is like. You feel alive doing this, because you definitely seem witty. And I've met you a few times before, but you were not as, what's the word I want to look for? Like, you
professional,
not just professional. You just seem like this is for you. Like I said, this is the most I've really interacted with you, but I can just tell by your personality, like, this is kind of your calling. Like,
this is more what I'm used to, for sure. And I've always thought about wanting to do like an interview type show. I mean, this was sort of the same thing. Like it would be sort of a Conan O'Brien kind of type thing, but same sort of thing. But it's like, okay, well, I got to get a set. I got to get all this stuff. And so, it's one of those things.
All I can say to you, man, is just don't overthink it.
Yeah. Well, impossible.
Be just.
I already have.
Don't overthink it. Yeah. Let it all go and just be the crazy witty who you are, because the more you are, don't hold anything back, because people will cause it to pop, what I mean? And just stay consistent with it. Like, I don't care if you get 2 views, fuck it, just keep going.
Nor do I. It's one of those things I told him. I said, we're probably never going to get famous off of this. We're probably never going to make any money off of this.
But
it's okay. But I said, but it's okay. I don't need this to be the thing that springboards me into the next thing.
Well, I can tell you, you can get famous on this, and you can make money off it if you keep going.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. I'm not worried about it. I'm not worried about this has to be a success. Because it already is a success.
For sure.
In my mind, because we've already been able to talk to people who've already enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I don't need it to just be paying my bills just yet. I mean, hey, maybe one day it will. I mean, if we're putting it will.
Like I said,
20,
you'll have
30,
a video
40 hours a week.
You'll get a video that has millions of views, and you'll wake up and you'll have 10 times the amount of followers.
We'll go viral on this one.
Momentum. It's momentum.
Yeah.
And like I said, like me, the first 4 years of nothing, the 5th year, quote unquote overnight millionaire. No, motherfucker, I've been doing this shit for 6 years, 20 hours a day. but now you call me an overnight millionaire because yes, it pops, and it's always that time that it pops is different for everything.
Yeah.
Some podcasts pop after the first fucking episode. Some go 5 years of 20 views, and then boom, they have that pop. So as long as you keep going, the main thing is that delta between starting and the time it really takes off is different, and a lot of people can't stomach just the continuing going. They burn out or they just lose interest because they don't get what they want out of it.
And I think the goal is for everyone, we talk about this a lot too, is the biggest, I guess, the top of the mountain is when you do something you love and get paid big for it. That is the epicenter of, you know, everything that I would love is to do something that I really, really love and get paid for it. So for this, we love it. Like I truly enjoy it. I if it goes big, great. And I think my mindset is, of course it could be big. Of course it could go huge. I just think that way. I'm setting up for it to go that way. If it doesn't, I'm still going to gain something from this. I'm still going to, you know, have knowledge with way more successful
like
people
my
than me.
my podcast, you know, I've had it for about 3 years. It hasn't really blown up. I mean, it takes a lot of time from me. My time is very limited, right? So it takes time, and anything we invest our time in, like, what's your time worth? What kind of ROI are you getting from it, right? And I've been doing it for about 3 years. It's got me clients. It's made me thousands of dollars, you know, indirectly. Clients that listen to it. It gets me the content that I post to social media that gets clients. So I do get some out. Like, this is getting you guys content. So, but I still do it, you know, and I try to do it once a week, but sometimes I'll go a month without doing it. But the thing is, I still continuously am figuring out to do it because I love it. I love talking about what I've done, and I love giving back and giving knowledge, right? Because I've lived it. So I'm glad you guys are doing this. It's cool. Like I said, I think everybody should do. I mean, not everybody should do a podcast, but not everybody.
Just about everybody
I don't want to
does.
say that, but there's a lot of people do that shouldn't. But you know, make it interesting, add it your flair. It's kind of cool that there's two of you guys. You guys got different personalities. It's cool. Yeah.
And I mean, I think the realization we had Bobby Jackson over here before he was on the podcast, and we played dice with Bobby and just shooting the shit. And, you know, I'm like, man, this could be something, you know, bigger. And then we have all these UFC guys over from doing the fights, then growing up with Brady. I'm like, we got to do, you know,
for sure.
And with his personality, we got a set when you walk into our house. I'm like, we got to do it. Let's do it. You know, and it's fun, and it's.
You guys got this shit, man. I like it.
Yeah, we got cups, all kinds of stuff.
Shirts.
But we had like Bobby Jackson talking to him about playing Kobe Bryant and Michael Jordan. That was that was so cool.
That's crazy.
You know, stuff like that, and. I feel like
and just here's the thing, as far as giving you any tips I can. The fact that you're having those kind of connections and you're having those kind of people on, make sure you utilize that content, because that content is content that normal people don't get as far as people that start podcasts. So make sure you purpose it in the right way. Make sure you post it in the right way, and make sure you continuously post it, because if you post it and it doesn't really pop off or go viral, I would continue to repost it, because the person you do have is a fucking professional basketball player that's played with Kobe and those guys. So it should get some good amount of traction as long as you hit it in the right way. So if you've posted stuff in the past, it doesn't, delete that shit, repost it, repost it to a different platform, repost it to a different time, because that kind of content's like gold. And the fact that you have access to people like that, that people know around the world, technically, kind of, right? Utilize that. So if like I said, if you had content in the past, make as much fucking content as you can with everyone's interview, right? But make sure really the pieces that you pick are pieces that are quick, not too long, and they're going to want people to watch more. Anything long form nowadays, unfortunately, I mean, look at Joe Rogan, he's long form as fuck, other than Joe Rogan. But a lot of stuff as far as growing on social media and getting that following that will get you paid and get you really consistent higher views, it's got to be short and quick, and it's got to be catchy, and it's got to be, don't post it and be done and go on to the next interview and next post. Say, okay, this was your favorite part from our interview, your favorite part from few parts from anyone's interview. Make sure you post them to every platform.
Yeah, we do that every day.
And then, but repost them, repost them. Like if it's like an amazing talk with Bobby Jackson when he was talking about playing Kobe, something like that. Like that should go semi-viral just because of the content how shit Kobe goes viral all the time, and he's a professional basketball player. So if you've posted shit that has done okay or not really done anything with around that conversation, don't fucking give up on that shit, because you have a gold mine right there. Re-edit it, change the fucking headline, repost it. Like I'm giving you guys advice.
Yeah.
No charge.
Yeah, right.
But I'm saying
We're gonna get a bill after this. $5,000 cash or check.
No, what I'm saying is, you guys have interviews that most people don't have. So make sure you utilize it. Squeeze that fucking.
And I
all the
think
water
we
out of
did
it.
we did Tom Brady Sr. and Bobby Jackson, our first 2 episodes,
Yeah.
and then the third one was the offensive coordinator of the Tampa Bay
Yeah.
Bucks. So those were 3 hard hitters, and now it's starting to get way more views, and
Even
but not
probably
at the
more
beginning.
than those ones. Did.
Oh, the ones now, we had Mike, I always say Mallet, but it's Malott.
Malott.
He's going to hate me because
Yeah.
I say Mallet all
Yeah.
the time in the interview. I'm like, Mallet,
Yeah.
Mallet.
Malott.
Cool.
But he's getting, 30x what, Bobby Jackson's talking about Kobe.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, it's just, like you said, it's repetition.
It's
You
just
gotta keep
reposting
grinding.
those, now that your show and your channel has a little traction. I'm just reminding you, don't forget about those, because those are really golden that will pop. Re-edit it, maybe edit it to be shorter, and really get a catchy headline.
No, that's a good point, because I've seen that a lot. A lot of channels will have like an old video, one of their first videos, and then it went away, and now it's reposted like it's brand new, and it gets all these views that it just wouldn't get being there, the same video. It's just because, this is something new. Oh, I've seen this before, but okay, I'll look at it again, whatever.
Change the cover screen,
that's
whatever
not a
you
bad
gotta
idea.
do.
Got it.
Yeah. And it's just stuff that's, I
Change
don't
the
want to say
title.
common sense, but it's just stuff that, as much shit we've got going on, we were usually, and I've been guilty of it. That's why I'm telling you guys, you're just focused on the newest, the next one. And then, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. Well, I know your time is important to you, and I appreciate you coming out here
course.
and sharing your story.
Yeah.
Closing.
Good to see you.
Yeah, closing. What can you give young entrepreneurs or old entrepreneurs? There's so many platforms now, right? What can you give 2 senses or?
Just to embellish on the shit I already said, right? Just take action and do it. Don't worry about what motherfuckers think of you. Don't let that hold you back. Fitness is a huge key. Your fitness ties into your mental health. Your mental health ties into your success daily. So for me, I'm a big advocate of, if you're really fit, if you get that game down, your mindset will follow. And after that, every success in every I can't fucking talk. Every other area will follow. So this fucking Americano is just down. I'm about to piss my fucking
Put
pants.
some of my extra CBD in there.
Yeah. I'm cross-eyed. But, fitness, mindset, discipline, consistency, taking action, and work ethic. You can work harder. You can work smarter. Stop being so fucking weak and lazy. Like, you guys aren't working as hard as you're talking about. I promise you. These guys are out there talking about grinding, and they're talking about how much they work. You're lazy as fuck in reality. Like, you know what I mean? Like, they talk about working 8-10 hours, and you literally look at what they did. You did an hour worth of work. Like, this generation, this mindset is way different than ours. Like, I can show you grinding, you know what I mean? But it can be yours if you earn it. You know, that's it, really, man. I appreciate it. Like I said, I appreciate it. It's good seeing you. Good seeing you too, man.
Yeah,
Like I said,
it's been a while.
It's been years.
Yeah,
Right?
probably a year, 2 years. I don't remember. I don't remember what I did this morning. So it's when you get older, you forget.
Yeah.
But we thank you for coming on
course,
here.
man.
We know your time's valuable.
Yeah.
I swear I say that every time we have a guest, because it is.
Yeah.
Everyone that comes on
Yeah.
here,
At least it's
tough.
nice and close. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just a 15-minute drive down the street.
Yep.
So, it's
So
not
we
too bad.
appreciate you, and I think everyone got a lesson out there of what you can become from literally nothing, which is pretty powerful.
Yeah.
Yep.
Hell yeah.
Just go until you collapse.
Yeah.
Yep. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll be back next week.
Yep.
All right.
All right, buddy.
Thanks for watching Two Bees in a Pod. Make sure you subscribe, like, comment, share, and thank you for all the love and support.